Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and I am currently sort of car shopping. If you guys don't know, I am planning on selling my Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. It no longer meets any of my needs, and I'm debating on whether or not I'm just going to sell it outright or if I'm going to trade it for something. And this is one of the cars that I'm actually considering. I'll talk about why I am considering one of these Mazda Miatas. But anyways, before we get in the video, huge shout out and thank you to the Brent Brown Toyota for giving me some time with this Miata. If you're looking for a clean, low mileage RF Grand Touring and you want a great deal on one, they've got one. This one has manual transmission as well. So reach out to them, link to their website in the description down below. Let's get into it. Now this isn't going to be a normal review. We're basically just going to take the car out and I'm going to see how much I like it on the interstate because that's most of my driving nowadays. But if you don't know, this is the newest generation of Miata. Now this isn't the refresh version. This is a 23. They did a refresh for 2024. Again, I would call it a refresh rather than any sort of redesign. But anyways, this is the Grand Touring with the RF. I think I kind of like the Club more than the Grand Touring personally, but the RF model I think is the one to go for if it's not going to be just a weekend car. If it's just a weekend car, then the regular soft top is a little bit better. It handles better, lower center of gravity and all of that. But anyways, I love the looks of the Miata with the RF package. And I like the practicality with the extra sound deadening that RF provides. It does create a little bit of a blind spot, which is a bit of a downside. And then if you get more loaded up trim packages on the Miata, then you get this cool section here at the top of the door panel where it brings the exterior color inside. And then you've got nice trim all over here with the seats too. And the Club comes with the Recaro seats, which I really like personally. I like the gauge cluster setup too. So everything front and center. Steering wheel's got a cool design. Shifter, short throws, really notchy. You get heated seats with this package. That's for the top to raise and lower it, which is really nice. Pretty simple system to do. It is definitely tight in here, and I am not a small person. I weigh over 200 pounds. I got like a wider back and everything from all that boring weightlifting. I'm kidding, I love it. But the cool thing is that you're like really close to the passenger, so like, I don't know, if my wife and I went on a date, this would be a nice setup. It's interesting to see the overall design though on the seats here with the Grand Touring compared to the Club version. But with that being said, let's take this out. For those of you that are wondering, this has just under 5,000 miles, it looks like on the odometer, so again, low mileage. Let us set off in the Miata here and see what this is like. Something I've noticed about these Miatas that I do want to mention is the wear on these. I don't know, it's not horrible, but it seems like they show wear on like the steering wheel and stuff pretty quickly. So just something to note. I've noticed that with a lot of cars that use some of these, what is it, like Napa leather and stuff. It seems like they show wear a little bit quicker than some of the synthetic stuff. But I mean, you know, obviously real leather's always nicer to have than the, rather than the fake stuff. The manual's really easy to use. Like it's super notchy. I always have that debate in my mind on whether or not I actually would want to commute with the manual transmission. Obviously it's something that people have done for a very long time. I mean, all the, you know, early cars were manual transmissions. But, you know, with automatics, it's like, is it something that I want to do? Oh, I forgot this has the stupid button infotainment system. Yeah, with automatics, is it something that I would want to deal with when I can, I don't know, be lazy? And if you experience traffic in Utah, it's not as bad as some other places, but it still can get kind of dicey here and there, and so it's nice to have the convenience of an automatic. I'm finally able to get up and move a little bit here. The fuel economy in this is reading, the average that this has had is over 34 miles per gallon. That's pretty appealing to me, honestly. So far it's really smooth. The suspension is, it's got some bumpiness to it. It's not bad. It's really easy to rev match. That's pretty fun, the engine. It's quick enough, but it's not so quick that you're gonna get in trouble. So like you can actually go through the gears a little bit. Now in terms of road noise here on the interstate, So wind noise is pretty much non-existent with the RF. That's one of the downsides with the soft top, is you get, you know, it's soft top, so you get quite a bit of buffeting. This you don't get that, but there is quite a bit of road noise. And the other thing I'm noting is that the RPMs are, they're not insanely high. Yeah, no, that's not too bad. I was wondering if you're gonna have the engine droning, but this isn't bad. But yeah, you can definitely tell that there's less damping or less sound deadening there. It's not any worse than, you know, like the Wrangler. It's not any worse than a Wrangler. It's actually probably a little bit better with the sound deadening than the Wrangler. And then, you know, the car that I have been daily driving is the Ineos Grenadier. And again, that doesn't, surprisingly, even though it's a very boxy car, doesn't have a lot of wind noise, but it's got quite a bit of road noise. So yeah, it's not too bad for being a convertible vehicle. It's not too bad, but I will say it's just loud enough that I think that I don't know, might get annoyed somewhat with commutes. And I think it's not necessarily like the decibel level, it's also the height. As weird as that sounds, because like in the Grenadier, for example, you're so high up that the noise coming from the tires and everything is above you, whereas this, you're like at people's wheel level because it's such a small car. So you get more, so that the noise is like going right there. So I feel like the Miata community is going to make fun of me for this, but this is stuff I drive 40,000 miles a year. This is stuff that I'm thinking about. It's like the this is what us car people do. We're like, can I make a Miata work? That's always the car person question. Can I make a Miata work? And that's what we're trying to figure out today. Of course, the handling's great. The steering's amazing. Yeah, you really can get into this. Buttery smooth. This is one downside about the Miata, is every single time you pull up to something that's large, like a truck, you're like, is it gonna hit into me? I am tiny, it will squish me. There's a little bit of buffeting there, but yeah, the wind noise is pretty minimal. It's mostly tire noise. And you know, it's honestly not terrible. I think the freakiest part about driving a Miata is just the fact that you're tiny, and it's like the fear of other people running you over. But this engine is great. It's so easy to blip. For a 4-cylinder, it's really smooth. At higher RPMs. If you're blipping the Miata at lower RPMs, it might be a little bit lazier, but I'm noticing at these higher RPMs, it's just boom. It's very smooth. Very, very smooth. And the braking's nice, and the suspension's actually pretty comfortable. It's a nice setup. So it's definitely something for me to think about. I don't know if I'm sold on the idea of daily driving a Miata. If you don't know, some of the other cars I'm looking into is Camry and Prius. I'm kind of leaning away from those because they're so soulless. They're like, again, they get great fuel economy, but they are like the most boring cars on the face of the earth. So yeah, I don't know about those ones. Honestly, I don't know about those ones. So let me guys think about me daily driving a Miata. It's definitely a thought. Like I said, not sold on the idea. It works for what I do, right? It gets good fuel economy. It's fun to drive. And now the range says 0. It said I had 11 miles. I didn't even drive close to 11 miles. Now it says I have no. Scary. Let's hope we make it back. But yeah, it has enough space for what I would be using it for. But just would I get sick of this? That's the one question I have with the Miata, and I think there's a chance. I wouldn't get sick of the fun, but you know, it's the noise and the constant fear of getting run over by a pickup truck because it's such a small car.